Let's talk about a little bit of a place that has no hope. That would be New England right now.
Well, we don't.
After the greatest dynasty in the history of the NFL has concluded, now there are people talking wild shit about the future of Bill Belichick, the greatest coach of all time and the greatest general manager of all time, and the New England Patriots, more specifically the Kraft family, Robert and Jonathan, who were seen on video saying, we're not good enough and we're forced to watch this pretty much. Yeah. Everybody has a take on it, including Ben Volen, who works for the Boston Globe. Boston Globe, which is a pretty important thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Ben Volen's been covering the Patriots a long time.
Yeah.
Probably has a lot of connections within the Patriots.
Maybe.
What's that mean?
You're asking me questions? I'm just answering.
They love him up there.
Who, Ben?
It's a bold accusation.
Is that right, D-Bud?
Taking Ed's face, the report indicated that Belichick will be back with the Patriots next year, Volen wrote, but two people close to the team believe the report was really Belichick sending a message to Robert and Jonathan Kraft. Don't forget that I signed a multi-year contract. If you fire me, I have a big fat buyout coming, and I intend to collect every single penny. This was about the Bill Belichick deal being released about 2 weeks ago when it said he signed a 2-year extension, so he's still on contract for next year. Ben Volen saying that there's people that think Bill Belichick released that to send a message to Bob and Jonathan saying, oh, I think you might have forgot. There's another year on this bad boy that is huge. Ben Volen would also say, based on my conversations, I don't think it's 100% that Belichick finishes out this season. If Belichick loses at home to Commanders and then to the Colts and comes home from Germany with a 2-8 record, I think there's a chance Kraft can make the move in the bye week, which is next week for New England. Now, obviously, people overreact to everything.
Sure.
And especially when it comes to NFL coaches and everything like that. But the fact that somebody seems to be pretty credible at the Boston Globe is giving this particular opinion is a wild time for the New England Patriots. Does it feel, Connor, who loves the New England Patriots, does it feel like Bill Belichick is inevitably gone after this year? And how much should we put into Ben Volen's statements?
Well, let's just think about what Ben Volen's saying here, right? Okay, so Belichick might not make it back in the bye week, and then instead of taking a job next year, he'll sit out a year strictly to get money from Robert Kraft. So that in its own is just false. Like that, I get it's opinionated, and saying based on my conversations, is that with like your children or some guy at a bar, or is that with people inside the building?
I would assume Boston Globe probably talking to other people, but you're right.
Sure.
Could have been.
Absolutely.
Neighbor.
Could have been, yeah.
Any brass.
You could probably pull anyone off the street in New England, and they would probably have that to say, and then you could say, based on people that my conversation with. So that's one
Journalism.
thing. Journalism, of course. The other idea that Robert Kraft would fire Bill Belichick mid-season, like that is something that just won't happen. And I said yesterday, I don't think that the whole idea of what Bill has done for the team has warranted A, B, and C, that he can get whatever he wants. Like, I don't think that's true. But I also don't think Robert Kraft's going to disrespect Bill Belichick by firing him mid-season, because that's what that would be. Now, after the season, if they have a conversation after they finish, let's say 3-14, 4-13, and then he gets let go, like that is something completely different than what he is assuming. Now, the idea that he gets fired, that is definitely real, and I could 100% see that happening, but I don't see him, after getting fired, sitting out a year because of his contract, one, or the other being Bob Kraft and Jonathan Kraft deciding, yeah, we're going to fire this guy mid-season and hope for a turnaround. Like that, it's just so dumb and so fucking stupid to read those words and for people to actually take them and then take those words into other conversations with people and use them as if they are fucking fact. That shit drives me insane. And everything that you said works at the Boston Globe, all these things, very credible. I bet he's done great work with the Boston Globe. I don't think for one fucking second that Ben Volen knows what he's talking about when it's coming to this situation.
Okay,
now,
right.
I could also be wrong because I am an idiot, okay? And I
don't
say
work for the Boston Globe.
Very stupid things, and I don't work for the Boston Globe. So that I hope that I am wrong, because if I am and Belichick gets fired, that means we're losing the next 9 games by a grand total of 500 fucking points, because they would be even worse without Bill. But with that being said, the reality of Bill being fired is absolutely real, and there is a chance at the end of this year that they decide to go with a Gerard Mayo in-house. Let's do this thing completely over. He won't get fired if they lose in Germany. He won't get fired.
Which the Colts team.
Yeah.
Oh,
We're not scoring.
Colts fans would love that.
Yeah, we're not scoring 20 points. That's just a fact. And you guys have scored 20 points in every game, so that's a loss. But basically everything he's saying here, I look at and spit in the face of Ben Volen because of how much I disagree.
We get it. Okay.
Yeah, just hammering that home.
What does Tom E. Curran say? I want to go back to what does Tom E. Curran? Does he have similar thoughts?
We could call him.
We
could call him.
I would love to hear what Tommy Curran has because I trust Tommy Curran and Phil
the thought of Kraft pulling the trigger on firing Bill Belichick in the middle of the season after everything has happened
will never happen.
Would be awesome. That would just be that would be chaos. If the amount of anonymous sources that would come out speaking on Bill Belichick's side about how he feels, like if Bill Belichick was the one that leaked the information about his contract as a reminder to the Kraft family and to everybody.
You believe that?
I don't know.
I mean, that sounds like how Bill Belichick does business.
Yeah, I mean, there's a chance it's real, but
fuck no.
I mean, there's a chance that.
Or what if someone texted him, a media member texted him? Well, I doubt he's texting, but maybe who knows? And said, "Hey, didn't you just sign a new deal?" And he said, "Yeah, it's a multi-year deal."
Remind the Crafts, like I just signed it. Yeah, okay.
It's like he's evil genius when it comes to football. I think is how we all view him. If he's also doing that, if he has time to manage an entire roster, who we're drafting, free agency, negotiation, mid-season acquisitions because we lose somebody, while also scouting college football players, coaching a team, putting in a thing, and let's make sure we get this narrative right with the media.
Manipulate.
That would be incredible. Yeah. That would be phenomenal if he was doing that. It'd be great to kind of hear about it. We're calling Tommy Curran to kind of get his thoughts on the whole thing. But you said, and like Michael Lombardi said, they got $110 million in salary cap next year. And you said you'd like to see Bill kind of rebuild and see if he can do it. There's going to be an easy out there to say this new eyes, fresh. Yeah. The whole thing, setting up for that almost.
And the thing about that is he just did this. He spent $150 million in free agency. In 1 day. So it's like, that was awesome. It's not as if he is, out on spending money. He'll do that. And the best part is that when he fucks up with a signing and maybe it doesn't work out, a la Jonnu Smith, he won't just put him in the game because they paid him. He'll trade his ass away and he'll admit he's wrong.
He'll look in the mirror.
Yeah, and assess the situation.
You did it again.
Yeah. And he did do it again, too, with Juju Smith.
What did he we just got a report from Tommy Curran, who's currently on air somewhere.
So Tom could not jump on the FaceTime, but he basically said that he is a lame duck right now, and there is a possibility.
Okay. Thank you, Tommy Curran.
After the season?
Yeah, that's lame duck, right?
Yeah,
finishing out his term. Yeah. But no power, no juice.
Yeah, exactly.
Because he's not around.
That does make sense, though, with the money. Like, if there was ever time to cut ties, it'd be like, hey, Bill, we just did this, and it didn't work. Like, I'm not just going to let you.
So then where's Bill going?
Anywhere that has an opening.
Chargers. He's going to the Chargers.
You know who's coming to New England, though? If Bill.
Braves.
Oh, yeah.
I think we're going to hire in-house. I want Vrabel. I want Vrabel.
Why would they hire in-house?
Yeah, would they want to hire it just someone else from Bill's coaching tree? Like, isn't the whole point, like, hey, we need to try something new here. We don't just need one of Bill's disciples to do the exact same thing he's been doing.
We will say Vrabel's just got a quarterback potentially.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like the Vrabel thing is cool because he just, was in New England and retired and everything, and I understand, like, the coaching tree. Gerard Mayo is a young guy. He probably understands how to communicate with the younger crew, right? So it's not a possible McDaniel situation where he's a massive prick, and he's been there. Allegedly. And he's been there. Like, Mayo knows what it looks like when the team is good and obviously when the team is shit. So that's why I want Gerard Mayo personally, because I don't think the Patriot way.
Hold on. Somebody, RG3 said yesterday, the Patriot way dies when Bill Belichick leaves the New England Patriots.
Yeah, for sure, which is awesome because that means Bob O'Griffin is a Belichick guy, not a Brady guy. So shout out to Bob. But, I mean, that isn't a thing. But we've talked about this before. Like, the Belichick way isn't a thing. It is just going out there and playing well. And that is something I think.
No, it's the Patriot way is actually the Belichick way.
Definitely a thing. 1,000%. And
Sweet.
Obviously, Tom Brady having a guy like that bought in is a huge part of it. It's like, Greg Popovich having Tim Duncan or Phil Jackson having Jordan. Like, it's a part of that. Or having Kobe. Like, you got to have your best players invested and bought in and to carry that out. And in football, you got to have, Devin McCourty's, Julian Edelman's, Gronk,
Slater,
Lights, Vince Wilfork, all these guys over the years who kind of were pillars. But, like, there are things about how he conducts business and even from interviews. Like, you're only talking about yourself. You're never talking about injuries. Rookies, you're barely talking at all. Like, so it's a lot of things that go into it that is the Patriot way, the preparation part of it, how you practice, all of it. So, but you got to have talent as well. You got to have that quarterback position right now. Is obviously a large part of it with having Tom Brady.
You experienced the Patriot way.
Well, but the thing that's interesting and the thing that I've heard too is they practice different with Belichick because like we've been in locker room. We've been AJ, right? There's a schedule that you stick to. Like Wednesday, you do this exactly every Wednesday all season. Thursday, you do this. Practice schedule's exactly the same. The one thing that I've heard is like Belichick does things completely different. Like your Wednesday is not the same Wednesday every week. It's
games.
They are actually taking what they are screwing up in games and actually working on it. It's not like a lot of other places that like, hey, listen, like Wednesday, we're going to work on our deuce blocks every fucking Wednesday all year long. Like, no, like if you're struggling with your reach blocks, if you're struggling in man-to-man coverage, like
tackling,
if your fucking red zone offense is the worst in the league, like we are fucking working red zone offense all the time. So he actually does shit that makes sense. It's just whether it can be replicated.
Yeah, nobody else does it. And when you hear it, maybe as a fan, you start hearing things like, yeah, that's what I would want my team to do. Yeah, that's what I would want my team to do. Yeah. That's what I would want my team to do.
Hard to do.
It's not like that.
Pros, though.
Yeah.
You got a lot of different personalities, a lot of different egos, people making a lot of money. So it's kind of collegey, kind of militant, and that shit's not going to work. It's not going to fly in a lot of places.
And that's why the tree is a bush.
Yeah. That's why I would want Mayo to do it. Basically, everyone on the staff I would want to keep. Like, if Steve Belichick was a DC and Gerard Mayo was head coach and Bill O'Brien was the OC, I would be unbelievably happy about that, and like I know it would.
So Bill's the only problem.
No. This is if Bill. I
need Dante back.
You just said it. I want Bill for one more year. Give him a top 5 pick
that's
and give him all that money, and then see what happens.